Every 4 years, the citizens of the United States of America elect one person to be their country's next president. But how many citizens actually take the time to go vote on Election Day? Statistics are showing that voter turnout has been on a steady decline since the 19th century. The election of 1876 was the most popular election in American history, with 81.8% of voting-age citizens casting their votes for president. The rest of the elections in the top 12 for highest voter turnout were all in the 1800s as well. But from there, voter turnout has been going steadily downhill. The elections with the lowest voter turnout have all happened fairly recently, with the 1996 election having the second lowest voter turnout. Only 49% of Americans voted. The most recent presidential election, in which President Barack Obama was elected to his second term, had a slightly larger voter turnout of only 54.9%. In the 2012 presidential election, 129,085,403 Americans voted. At the time, there were 235,248,000 United States citizens above the age of 18. According to a study conducted by the United States Census Bureau, 28% of Americans surveyed said that they didn't vote because they were too busy, and 16% stated that they were not interested. Though the voter turnout has slightly increased by 6% from 1996 to 2012, the United States still has one of the lowest voter turnouts when compared to the rest of the world. The United States' 54.9% seems like nothing compared to recent voter turnouts of other countries. Belgium's 87.2%, Turkey's 86.4%, and Sweden's 82.6%. These are all numbers that have never been reached in American history. This raises the question, what are these countries doing that America is not? Of the people in Australia that are of voting age, 80.5% of them voted in the country's 2013 election. Of all Australians who are registered voters, 93.2% voted. This high voting rate is due to strict laws enforced in Australia that require all of its citizens to vote. Those who do not vote must pay a fine, and those who do not vote or pay a fine could be faced with a court hearing. It is not necessary for Australians to pick a candidate if they do not want to vote for any of the ones listed, but they must fill out a ballot anyway, without a candidate check, so their name can be marked off the electoral roll so the government knows they attended a polling station. It is undeniable that in American elections, different ethnic groups tend to vote more often than others. The Americans who casted their votes in the 2012 election included 66.2% of Black Americans, 64.1% of white Americans, 48% of Hispanic Americans, and 47.3% of Asian Americans. With over half of Hispanic and Asian Americans not participating in elections, there are many voices that are going unheard on Election Day. Since Asian and Hispanic Americans tend to lean liberal, if voting in the United States was mandatory, these unheard voices could ultimately be enough to sway an election toward the left side of the political spectrum. Before we ask some young, eligible voters about their thoughts on the 2016 election, let's introduce some of the candidates hoping to become the 45th President of the United States. The current frontrunner for the nomination of the Democratic Party is Hillary Clinton. Clinton was a lawyer before going on to serve as First Lady of Arkansas and next First Lady of the United States to her husband, Bill Clinton. After serving as First Lady, Clinton was elected twice to the United States Senate and served as Secretary of State in President Obama's cabinet. Clinton is pro-choice, pro-gun control, pro-same-sex marriage, favors expanding Obamacare, and intends on eliminating student debt and making college more affordable. Catching up to Clinton on the Democratic side is Bernie Sanders, an independent United States Senator from Vermont. Sanders previously served as a member of the House of Representatives and mayor of Burlington, Vermont. Though he agrees with Clinton on many issues, Sanders is farther left on several issues and identifies himself as a democratic socialist. Sanders has been a frequent critic of Wall Street, wants to make public colleges cost-free, and hopes to fix the issue of income inequality, which has been the centerpiece of his campaign. The current frontrunner of the Republican Party is Donald Trump, a businessman from New York. Trump has never held elected office, but capitalizes on his success in business. Trump is infamous for his controversial comments on Mexican immigrants and Muslims, which have been applauded by conservatives but largely criticized by liberals. Trump is in favor of stopping illegal immigration, defunding Planned Parenthood, repealing and replacing Obamacare, and is in favor of concealed carry of guns. Currently second in the Republican primary is Ted Cruz, a current United States Senator from Texas. Prior to becoming a senator, Cruz was the state's Solicitor General. The eligibility of Ted Cruz's candidacy has been largely debated as a result of him being born in Canada. Cruz is in favor of a flat tax, repealing Obamacare, defunding Planned Parenthood, and has suggested overturning the Supreme Court's same-sex marriage decision with a constitutional amendment. Do you plan on voting in the election this year?
Honestly, I can't say so because I can't see any candidate who's actually worth voting for.
And do you plan on voting the election this year?
Of course, I think it's important to get out there and support who you want to be president.
Do you plan on voting this year?
No,
Why not?
because I'm not really interested in any of the candidates, so I feel like my opinion won't matter.
And do you plan on voting in the election this year? And if so, why?
I do, and because I'm 18 is the first election I can vote in, so might as well.
Are you 18 years old?
Yes, I am.
Do you plan on voting this year?
No.
Why not?
I find the candidates very annoying. I find American politics very loud, and news networks like Fox or MSNBC seem to be too stanced for me to just watch without having a clear view of what candidates stand for. So I'm really disinterested. I'm turned off by how politics is presented to me.
All right, thank you.